Well, good morning and welcome to the Sunday extravaganza of the Shaun Starr Show. We are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on this Sunday morning after taking in my first Montreal Canadiens game of the season. Yeah, I'm finally getting my chance to get into the Bell Center, and what a game! What a game it was. Good morning, everybody, and can you believe it? The Montreal Canadiens are very much in the fight, and we wake up again this morning with the Montreal Canadiens having ownership of the second wild card spot thanks to that incredible comeback last night after Brock Nelson made it 4-1 for visiting Colorado, who, by the way, came here winners of 9 of their last 10 games, taking it to the Ottawa Senators, licking their wounds after losing to Toronto in a 2-1 final, and then looking very much like a wagon of a hockey team. The pace of that game yesterday was top shelf. That was a top shelf game, and full credit to the Montreal Canadiens for surviving and then ultimately doing what they tend to do. And for the second game in a row, finding a way in the third period, finding a way that their level, that their standard wasn't good enough, and figuring out a way to solve Colorado, figuring out a way to solve Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon and everything that they had going for them yesterday. And we'll get into the nuts and bolts of last night's game because obviously the Montreal Canadiens wanted bad. This is a team that is showed leadership. This is a team that continues to figure out what they need to do to get it done. I mean, let's talk about Arbor Jacki for a second. The Montreal Canadiens, tough guy, I thought picked an absolute beauty of a moment to pick his spot, to decide to change the complexion, change the vibe and the energy of that game. Because, again, taking in my first Canadiens game of the season, understanding, what the building has been like, understanding that everyone had been talking about the vibe. It's like the Montreal Canadiens organization has turned into a bit of a national narrative where you have opposing coaches coming out talking about how this is the best building in hockey. Anytime you go there, it's a privilege. And it's nice to see, nice to hear outsiders talking about the Montreal Canadiens again, their passionate fan base, the best in the business, figuring out a way to get it done. And then in the early stages of the second period, Arbor Jacki decides, and this is where, it's the finer points of a hockey game where Montreal is down in this game, right? Colorado scores 2 goals in that first period, and they're all over Montreal. And Arbor Jacki finds a moment to do what he does best, and that is have an impact in a game with his physicality. And we'll get into the David Savard Arbor Jacki pairing. We'll talk about Caden Gooley skating, still though with a no contact jersey on. But it was Arbor Jacki's high hockey IQ where he doesn't want to be the third man in. Instead, he calls Keaton Middleton over. Keaton Middleton accepts the request, and Bob's your uncle, and these guys are going. And it took the Montreal Canadiens until the third period to really figure out a way to get this going. And now, we can hear from Arbor Jacki post-game after watching Mike Matheson basically be on the ice, killing that overtime penalty, and then having a chance to win it in OT. Arbor Jacki.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. I mean, he plays 30 minutes a game. I don't know how he's not tired out there, and I'm tired watching him. So, no, he's a great player, and shut down McKinnon tonight, so it was really good.
So, Mike Matheson playing all these minutes, playing the role that he plays, and the team doing what they've been able to do, and that is really stay in the fight, figure out ways to rise up to the occasion. I mean, even, Cale
Yeah, I
Makar
mean,
talking about
it's the
what was
atmosphere here is
going on at the
incredible.
Bell Center.
Yeah, I mean, it's the atmosphere here is incredible. Obviously, I got to experience it with us for Four Nations, and so it was a playoff type atmosphere. And anytime you come to the Bell Center, you're going to get their best crowd. So it's a really fun building to play in, and yeah, we got to again. That's a playoff game right there. That's what it is. So it was fun.
So Cale Makar, playoff game at the Bell Center yesterday. And listen, the fact that this team was able to come back in that game and to tie it up, and we'll talk about Juraj Slafkovsky in a second, and I'll get to your comments here. But the fact that the depth of this organization currently, right? Brendan Gallagher has always been a leader, right? And always talking about how to get more, never being satisfied. And it's talk, right? But to watch Brendan Gallagher go out there and lead by example, Christian Dvorak. What has happened to Christian Dvorak? I don't know if this guy needs to be tested for PEDs, but he is completely transformed. You got to be wondering, I think, if you're a frustrated Canadiens fan, where was this version of Devo prior to this season? Who cares? Doesn't matter. The fact that Christian Dvorak, I guess, was breathed new life when he wasn't dealt at the deadline, and the fact that he's tight with Cole Caulfield, that he's tight with Nick Suzuki, and the team is tight with Christian Dvorak. I think that confidence was breathed into him after he wasn't moved at the deadline. Alex Newhook. We're going to talk about Alex Newhook this week. Marco D'Amico and I are going to go over the Canadiens' depth chart down the middle, and we're going to go back and forth on a talking point that got going late last week. Is Nick Suzuki a number one center? Is Nick Suzuki a top 15, a top 10 number one center? I want to get into that, and we will this week. And it also kind of relates into where Alex Newhook kind of slots in on the depth chart, because I don't know if you guys see it the way I see it, but Alex Newhook is a much better version of himself when he plays down the middle. And I can envision a world in that exists that has Nick Suzuki as your 1C, question mark at your 2C, 3C would be Alex Newhook, 4C will be Jake Evans. And it's more seasoning and more opportunities to grow. And understanding that the Canadiens are building depth and they're building the care factor. And that might be bigger than who's going to play with who's scoring when, and how many points that they have. Because points are points and everyone's going to get them, right, eventually. But can you buy in? Can you take the message that's being sold to you, whether it's from your general manager, whether it's from your head coach, a line mate, or your captain? Can you buy the message that is being delivered? And without question, with a handful of games left to go, and the Montreal Canadiens still very much locked into a playoff spot, thanks to that incredible, passionate comeback where they score 3 times and Juraj Slafkovsky gets his second, and he's on 16 goals now. And it begins with Joshua Roy's second. Joshua Roy's game, along with Alex Newhook and Patrick Laine, has also found another level of comfort. I'm not so sure what the NHL version of Joshua Roy is going to look like when he hits his prime, and then that psychological trigger kicks in where Roy goes into every game knowing that he has a rightful place in the National Hockey League. As I've said before, I believe a lot of these players that aren't tap-in NHL All-Stars go through psychological phases of, oh, I think I can do this. I know I can do this. And you're damn right I belong in this league. And I think you go through those phases. And for a guy like Joshua Roy, who was an AHL All-Star, was a leading point getter in the American Hockey League, and you're listening to guys like Pierre Maguire, who have forgotten more about hockey than I'll ever dream of knowing, talking about how the gap between the NHL and the AHL isn't as big as we want to believe it to be. And so when Joshua Roy, who plays a very offensive game in the AHL with Laval, comes to the NHL and is almost retasked and reassigned with what he needs to do, it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute to figure out your rightful place, figuring out your line mates, habits, etc. Like yesterday on the show, we were talking about Jaden Struble, right? Jaden Struble playing with Lane Hudson, and what's that like? And Jaden Struble, again, showing character, showing leadership, not taking physical nonsense in front of the net when he was cross-checked, deciding to throw the gloves. Anything that this team needs to do to stand up for each other, they have clearly, and that's another illustration or description of this team buying in. But when you watch players like Joshua Roy continue to develop and find individual momentum, it shows you again and again and again there are too many crumbs that take us down this trail that lead us to believe that Martin St. Louis has done an unbelievable job of communicating what he wants his team to do. The players not only take in that message, but they're able to process it and then apply it on the ice. And that, to me, it really is the team dynamic of everybody looking out for everybody. And so I can see some of the comments already around Sam Montembeault. I want to talk about Sam Montembeault now because I was surprised that the Canadiens went with Sam Montembeault on Saturday night. I don't know if Sam Montembeault is slowing down, running out of gas, mentally fatigued, or whatever it is. But Sam Montembeault has now lost or been in goal for back-to-back L's. Sam Montembeault is also 7-0-3 in his last 10 games. Sam Montembeault has also been a top 5 to top 7 goaltender this season in goals saved above expected. And since the Four Nations break, Sam Montembeault has been better than average. Those are just the numbers. Those are just the numbers. Those are essentially the facts. And I think we need to understand this about Sam Montembeault because I find the criticism of Sam Montembeault, in my opinion, a touch unfair. And let me specify about why I think it's unfair. The Montreal Canadiens, for as long as I've known them, have been a team whose identity is in goal. You know, and it began with me with Patrick Waugh, and then moved all the way through Carey Price. And now we're talking about a goaltender whose career has been journeyman, who has been, I don't know, right? Waiver guy, Florida Panthers cast off, local kid puts in the work, and now is the Canadiens' number one goaltender. And let's be honest, Sam Montembeault is better today than Jakub Dobeš. No debate in my mind. 2 years from now, we shall see. But today and yesterday, March 22nd, 2025, March 23rd, 2025, Sam Montembeault is a better goaltender than Jakub Dobeš. Understand the difference between present and future. We're talking about in the here and now. And so when we talk about a goaltender, whose career was never cemented as an NHL goaltender, a standout, a franchise player. Canadians get him off the waivers, get him from Florida, and he's turned into who he's turned into. But it doesn't change the fact that Sam Montembeault, when he's on, he is slightly better than average. And when he isn't on, he is average and sometimes below average. And he's really below average on shots from distance. And you saw it again against Colorado a couple of different times, right? And I understand. I watch the games as much as you do. But he is good for at least kind of one, air quote, bad goal a game. I get it. And luckily for him, his team is giving him a good amount of run support. But I think when people look at Sam Montembeault and they carve him up, oh, Montembeault needs to be better. I'm not a Montembeault guy. More comments around Sam Montembeault that not good enough. Sam Montembeault is good enough to get this team to where they are today. Let's not ignore that fact. And it's been a pretty good size of a sample that we can work off of. But the biggest problem for me with Sam Montembeault as it relates to the criticism is that he isn't Carey Price and that he's never going to be Price and he's never going to be Patrick Waugh. He's never going to be that franchise future Hall of Famer that you're proud to see wear the Montreal Canadiens colors. He's not. And unfortunately, he plays a position in a market that knows that position inside and out, and they've known it to be an area of strength, maybe like me, for as long as you've watched this team. And so he's a victim of the market in which he plays. But do not try to look past that. Try to look past and take in the body of work. That he's not Andrei Vasilevsky, that he's not Connor Hellebuck. And that is okay because this is a team game. And sometimes it's a bad goal that goes in. But in the here and now, and I reached out to a friend on Thursday morning because I wanted to know. No, it was Friday. Excuse me. It was Friday morning. I reached out to a friend Friday morning who's close to the Montreal Canadiens, very close to the Montreal Canadiens. So uh, I'm going to tell you something really interesting, okay? I wanted to know, after the Canadiens lost to the New York Islanders, I wanted to know who was in goal for the Montreal Canadiens. And I haven't asked this guy really for any information all season. We text back and forth, but he's a very serious person, and um, I'll just leave it at that. So I pick my spots, and I wanted to pick my spot on Friday morning because I wanted to get his take on what were the Canadiens going to do at home Saturday against Colorado. And I texted him. And I was like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And I'm going to read you the text that I got back when I texted him on Friday. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone very quickly. Let me search. I guess it was Friday. And so I was in a so anyways, why can't I find it? So annoying. I don't know why I can't find it now. It wasn't that long ago. But anyways, I could tell you because I do kind of remember what he said to me. Here it is. Sorry. Thank you. Here we go. So it was 9:49 on Friday. What do you think? Hey, bud, is it Monty or Dobish? What do you think? The answer was, I would think it's Montembeault for sure. Fighting for your life. So to give you a little insight into how these teams kind of play and how these teams operate, right? And a lot of a very strong element into that line from my buddy close to the Canadiens, right? With the team. Fighting for your life. That is their attitude. They believe if they lose or don't pick up a point, they are essentially going to die as it relates to the playoffs, right? And this is what we talk about, that this team does not let any outside noise get in. They are for each other and going forward with each other. And a big element of deciding is trust. And Sam Montembeault, and I stand by this opinion today. Sam Montembeault is a better goaltender than Jakub Dobish today, and he has earned the trust of his teammates in crucial games that this team is only going to play from here on home. And the rub is, when does Dobish get back in? Because obviously Rust, he needs to play. We haven't seen Jakub Dobish since that Seattle game on March 12th. The Canadiens are back in action Tuesday for the first of 4 away from home. St. Louis Tuesday, Philadelphia Thursday, Carolina on Friday, and Florida Panthers Sunday afternoon. That's the schedule. And for a team very much in the fight, in the mix, and they still have ownership of the second wild card spot, that is why Sam Montembeault played on Saturday against Colorado. I thought it would have been Jakub Dobish, But again, this team has that fighting for your life mentality. So in my mind, that kind of clears the air. I have a better understanding of the mentality that this team has going into games. And let's see what happens Tuesday against St. Louis. So if you're looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, there really isn't anything on the docket today. On Sunday, nothing really of substance. 3 p.m., the Philadelphia Flyers play at Chicago. Who cares about the Flyers? They're done. Sabres play at Winnipeg. Pittsburgh plays at Florida. Nashville plays at St. Louis. Tampa at Vegas. And down the list we go of teams that really don't factor in. The Bruins play at Los Angeles. So if you're a Bruins fan, maybe you're going to be watching something there. On Monday, a little bit of a different story. Columbus plays at the New York Islanders in a massive game for Habs Nation. That's a 7:30 puck drop. And the Red Wings, I guess if the Red Wings lose on Monday night, they play at Utah. I guess we can more or less write the Red Wings off as well. Now, when we look at what the New York Rangers are up to, the New York Rangers are the team personally that I'm sweating more than any other team. The New York Islanders, I don't know. I do not believe in the Islanders. I don't believe that they have the goaltending. I don't believe that they have the goal scoring to get it done, but credit to them, they're playing for each other and they're playing some really good hockey. Okay? So the Islanders are on 73 points, the Canadiens are on 75. In between the two teams are the New York Rangers on 74 points. But New York is on the struggle bus too. They have 3 wins in their last 10 games, right? And that was so disappointing for Habs fans watching the Rangers put a 5 spot on the Vancouver Canucks with 12 shots on goal, 39-12, and the Rangers score 5 freaking goals to win that hockey game. Brutal. But it's okay because the out-of-town scoreboard, by and large, for the last week or so, has been very, very complimentary and flattering to the Montreal Canadiens. So let's not, let's understand the reality of this situation. But this is what the New York Rangers have coming up. New York is about to embark on a California road trip. They play Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, Kings, Ducks, and Sharks. The next 3 games for the New York Rangers. And by the way, for what it's worth, despite the fact that the Rangers have 3 wins in their last 10, for what it's worth, New York going to the Pacific Division, they are 7-6 against that division this year. So that's kind of where it's at. And most importantly, and people have pointed it out, we talk, a little bit about the tie-breaking rules, right? Like the New York Rangers have 34 wins. The Canadiens have 33 wins. Regulation wins, it's lopsided in favor of the Rangers 31-24. But you know what? All that doesn't frickin' matter. It doesn't matter because the Canadiens have 69 games to New York's 71. That's the biggest number after the point total, obviously. You want more points at the end of the day. So it's 75-74 Montreal over New York, but it's also 2 games in hand on the New York Rangers, who, again, I'll remind you, are off to California to play the Kings starting on Tuesday. So it's been an interesting ride, and the long shot goals continue to burn Sam Montembeault, and so does the Canadiens' own defensive zone coverage. And as the season goes on, unfortunately, for a great teammate and a great soldier, David Savard's game is not improving as the season draws on. And the silver lining, perhaps, and it's even optimistic on my part to say silver lining, is that Caden Gooley was back skating again, but he was wearing a non-contact jersey. So obviously, the Canadiens need Caden Gooley. They need him bad. They need him back out there bad. And the guy that comes out is David Savard. And if the Canadiens can figure out if Caden Gooley can get some medical clearance and the Canadiens are still in the dogfight here, you like their chances a little bit more because defensive zone coverage and that game last night, that was my first game at the Bell Center this season. That game last night, that was big boy hockey. That was fast. That was elite level hockey. And I don't think David Savard stood out in a flattering way. And like I said, he's a great teammate. He's been unbelievable for Arbor Jackey's development. Unbelievable for Arbor Jackey's development. But as Marc Bergevin said, you want loyalty, go buy a dog. And this team is very much in the fight. And this team, I mean, I saw some people, and I get it. I deserve it, right? Like I took some heat last week in a conversation with my pal Marco D'Amico about the Canadiens. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, right? And I defended my position on the show yesterday, so I'm not going to rehash that. If you are interested in my perspective on that, go to my live tab on my YouTube page and you'll find yesterday's show. But I've already seen some people like, oh, do you believe now? Do you believe now? Understand this. I have always believed. I believe in the big picture. I don't believe at just the tip of my nose. I see beyond the tip of my nose. I believe in the big picture. I have been very, very, very consistent on this point. I believe in small things that can add up to really big things eventually. And that's what this team is doing and showing to me, clearly illustrated by their unbelievable comeback against a legitimate Stanley Cup team that was angry after they lost to Toronto in a 2-1 game, and that they went to Ottawa. Would they put on the Sens 4 or 5 goals in the first period of that hockey game, and then come to Montreal, jump out to a 2-0 lead, jump out to a 4-1 lead, and then need what's his face there to who's it? Not I can't remember his name. I am struggling a little bit this morning. Went a little bit hard yesterday, but here I am today, figuring out a way to get this done. But to see the Canadiens go down 4-1 and then come back and understand that what they look like, how they played, because in the first period of that game, I think Yoel Armia may have been their best player. Everybody else, like, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. And full disclosure, I did not believe the Canes were going to come back in the manner in which they did. But Joshua Ottawa, Juraj Slafkovsky, and then obviously Christian Dvorak. And those are the small things that add up to that this team is on the right path and doing the right things, winning for each other, first and foremost. Because that's how, you can say all the right things. You could be so philosophical. You could be exceptionally relatable. All those things we talk about MSL, right? But the best way to sell what you want your team to accomplish is by going out there and getting it done and winning games. It makes the job of selling your message, getting people to listen to you, process what you're saying and apply it, makes it a lot easier when players, athletes can actually see the fruits of their labor. And that's what Montreal has done. And that's what I love about this team. It's what I love so much about this team is the group of players, whether it's chartering a bus to the Gallagher compound in Vancouver to go be with their teammate as he mourns the passing of his mother. Whether it's standing up for each other on the ice like Arbor Jackguy or Jaden Struble, or whether it's figuring out a 4-1 deficit in the third period against a legit Stanley Cup contending team isn't a big enough deficit that they can't overcome. So when I look at just those points that I just made, it tells you how tight the team is. It tells you that this team has a very strict standard. It tells you that this team knows that they are close to turning a corner and finding themselves on a path where they can find talent, that they can go acquire talent via trade or via free agency. And we talk about Ivan Demidov and his future and what he may look like when he eventually gets here. And you have guys like Bo Horvat of the New York Islanders going out and telling people on Instagram that he believes Nick Suzuki is the most underrated player in hockey today. And I'll repeat what I had said in the first minutes of this live stream on Sunday morning. More and more people around the National Hockey League are talking about the Montreal Canadiens. They're talking about their fans. They're talking about their rink. They're talking about their leadership. They're talking about their management. And they're talking about their coach. And this, my friends, is so unique because if we go back years and years and years, with the understanding of, Saku Koivu will be a magnet to players. They brought Alex Kovalev can bring guys in. Fast forward, they get Carey Price. Carey Price, ice water through his veins, is going to lead the Canadiens, right? He's going to bring in players because guys want to play for him. Then they get PK Subban and traded for Shea Weber. Then they get, obviously, the Shea Weber, the man overflowed with character. Price and Weber together. Free agents are going to want to come to Montreal to a chance to play with these two guys, right? This is the most legitimate, authentic, appealing part of the Montreal Canadiens that I have ever covered in my time watching or working for TSN radio in Montreal, talking Canadiens 20 hours a week. This is the most genuine team that I actually believe more so than in any other year that what's happening will be appealing to players that say, you know what? I want to go play there. I want to go play there. I feel it. I feel it. And there's a difference between like a hope and a prayer. This seems very authentic. This seems very sellable because when the Montreal Canadiens, and I had this take at the time, when the Montreal Canadiens basically decided to hand the keys over to be dramatic, two Americans in Jeff Gorton and Ken Hughes. I know Ken Hughes is from here. I know he's French and speaks both languages, right? But Ken Hughes made his bones, made his name, made his career, raised his family in the United States of America. And obviously he's a Canadian. I'm being dramatic. But at that time, I read a lot into Jeff Molson turning, interviewing, doing his due diligence in bringing Jeff Gorton and Ken Hughes over. In my mind, I believed the Canadiens reprioritized establishing the greatness around this franchise more than they did selling beer, condos, or concert tickets. And more importantly than any of those outside revenue streams for the organization, not playing petty politics, not playing politics. That's what I've chosen to read into years ago when the Canadiens turned the page on Marc Bergevin and brought in Gorton, who then brought in Hughes, who then brought in MSL. And I believe that take at the time still holds water to this day. That's how I see this. And that's the way it should have always been. Always been. And that's why I have the strong feeling that for the first time in my life, the Montreal Canadiens are an appealing team to outside players that otherwise would have likely turned their back to the organization for a laundry list of reasons. A laundry list of reasons. And I think that laundry list gets shorter and shorter and shorter as the wins continue and the development continues. And you know it, and I know it. We like Cole Caulfield, love Cole Caulfield, love watching Lane Hutson, right? Lane Hutson is going to put up the most points by a rookie defenseman that we have not seen since 1991, 1992, when arguably the greatest defenseman that your eyes have ever seen, unless you're of a certain age and watch the great Bobby Orr, Nick Lidstrom. Nick Lidstrom's rookie record, points by a defenseman, is going to be eclipsed by Lane Hutson. And the Montreal Canadiens have a superstar on defense. And they have an underrated player in Nick Suzuki, who's their captain. You watch when the Canadiens are setting up on a power play. Watch how Nick Suzuki and Lane Hutson are the guy giving the directions of where they want, okay? We don't even have Ivan Demidov yet. Ivan Demidov's not even with Montreal yet. And if you have a chance, members of the Shaun Starr community, and again, you know, it's a small fee. It's $2.99 a month, and you can cancel anytime. One of the perks of being a member on the Shaun Starr Show is you get an early look at all the content that comes out. And tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Marco D'Amico and I are going to tackle who the right fit is for the Montreal Canadiens. I think it's a really strong, almost 16-minute conversation between Marco and I as we talk about Ivan Demidov coming here next year. May 31st, Demidov's contract comes to an end, and he will be in Montreal this summer. And he will be, hopefully, with the Montreal Canadiens in the fall of 2025. And the question I ask is, because a lot of you have written this in the comments, a lot of you over the last week have put this name out there. So I wanted to get Marco D'Amico's opinion on this. What about Evgeny Malkin of the Pittsburgh Penguins? 1 year left, $6.1 million. I see a lot of comments, and you know if you're a regular on this show that I read and generally have a good reply rate to most of what you guys comment on. I believe in the power of communication between you and me. I love that about what we do here together, all of us. And I see your comments. I see the angle. I don't disagree with it necessarily of bringing in, acquiring a Russian player to bridge the gap between Demidov, who's learning English. Demidov is also learning French, and a Russian player that can help make him a little bit more comfortable. I believe in that angle. I believe, but not to the extreme. Like, you're not giving up prospects, big time names, big time prospects, right? In order to just get a Russian player, if you believe that's what you think the Canadiens need to do. So we're going to talk about Evgeny Malkin. Is it worthwhile? Marco D'Amico brings up interesting names. If Evgeny Malkin is not achievable, interesting options for the Montreal Canadiens to explore via trade this summer. That video is out right now. Members of the show, and we are 21 strong, so thank you. Thank you. We are 21 members of the Shaun Starr Show. and growing. And you can have a look right now before it comes out for the public at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning about realistic options for the Montreal Canadiens. So let me get to some of your comments, but before I do, let me talk to you about brand new sponsor on the Shaun Starr Show. My friends at Canuck. Canuck.com is their website. It is their end of season sale. You can save up to 70% by shopping online, Canuck.com, or checking them out in store, 485 Rachel, Corner Barrie. We were there last weekend. Unbelievable, friendly, and convenient sales staff, and makes and models, color options. You can try jackets on easily. They got a cold room, so you want to tech. When we got the jacket, it said -20. You can go into a cold room, see what it's like in -20, and feel whether or not this jacket actually does what it says it does. And you will not be disappointed. Locally owned, locally operated, elbows up, support, 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 all that stuff, right? So you can take advantage. And these are the type of coats. I understand. It is you get what you pay for, and you are getting a premium winter jacket. We have Pudniezage here in Montreal, where it gets -8,000 in the wintertime. You want a great jacket. And yes, you're going to pay for that great jacket, but go pay for it now because you can save up to 70%. It's the type of coat that can last you 20 years. You take care of it, could last you 20 years, man. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Then you can support me by supporting my sponsors, Canuck.com, end of season sale, save up to 70%. So thank you for all that. And please, as my pal Peter Puck likes to say, and I don't know, man, I'm not comfortable. You want to hit the like button, please hit the like button. But what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to say it 800 times? I'm not going to say it 800 times. But if you want to hit the like button, hit the like button. Thank you. Ryerson, what a game last night. You can tell this team has bought into what Marty is selling. It's nice to see them believing in themselves. Far cry from the start of the season. It's, trying to find their identity in October. Jesper with the super positive outlook today. We're winning the cup. It's obvious. Christian Dvorak leading the team with 16 goals in the playoffs. Great comeback last night, says Alex McLean. Not Mick Clain, Matt Clain. Alex, thanks for being here this morning. Good morning, Ryan. Reward Slavzilla. Then he had a monster game. Nice to see Juraj Slafkovsky, and it's the two goals that I really loved from Juraj yesterday. Front of the net, and then having the confidence and the inner belief to shoot the frickin' puck. Shoot the puck. And he gets his 16th goal of the season. I like that. More growth. Peter, good to see you. My boy, Salil, good to see you. Proud member of the Shaun Starr Show. No quit in this team. My man, Steph Howard, good to see you. Rick Springhetti, proud member of the Shaun Starr Show. Rick joining us from the Dominican Republic. Wonderful game last night. Can't imagine a team with more spirit than this. It's the spirit and it's the actual we believe in ourselves, because they keep getting more evidence and proof of what they're doing is adding up to something substantial. And that substantial thing we're talking about can be a playoff spot. As the Columbus Blue Jackets and New York Islanders match up Monday night at 7:30, Detroit plays at Utah. The New York Rangers, hot in pursuit of the Canadiens, 1 point down. They begin a 3-game California road trip, starting Tuesday against LA. Friday night, the Rangers are at Anaheim. And then Saturday, the Rangers play at San Jose, New York, 7-6 against the Pacific Division this season. Lior, I'm a bit confused about the praise Mike Matheson is getting. I know he ended the game strong in overtime, but he made a lot of boneheaded decisions with the puck in regulation, and the retaliation penalty was bad. Yeah, what about the sell job by Nathan MacKinnon looking like Tim Stützle out there, going down like he got shot by a sniper in the Desjardins section on Saturday night? MacKinnon could be better. By the way, MacKinnon might be my favorite player to watch, not named Connor McDavid. But I digress. The other thing with Mike Matheson, and let me apply my Sam Montembeault logic to Mike Matheson. Mike Matheson is a very, very good player. But Mike Matheson, I think, has been tasked to play in a role that isn't always best suited for Mike Matheson's game, right? Like we talk about this all the time, moving deck chairs around. Guys playing in spots that either it's too hard, too challenging, and you're asking a lot. And I think Mike Matheson does a very, very good job. And last season, he had over 60 points. This year, not so much. And now he's playing all these minutes, playing more often than not against the other team's best players. And Mike Matheson, a leader on the team, uh, a valuable member of the Montreal Canadiens, but he's not a top pair defenseman. And he's playing 30 minutes a night. And when you're tasked with that role and that assignment and you're playing those minutes, you know what's going to happen. Mistakes are going to happen. And that's what we talk about. It's what makes me so positive about this team's future. Future. The key word is look what they're doing with players that really aren't in the best spots. Sam Montembeault, Mike Matheson, the Canadiens don't even have a second line. So why I'm so optimistic about look what we're talking about and look what they're doing. Like if they can correct a couple of things next year, as early as next year, and they're going to get an offensive dynamic player in Demidov, and if they can fix the biggest issue and getting a real 2C to play with this guy and getting chemistry going, I mean, let's go, man. What are we talking about next year? That's why I've told you for a while. Playoffs this year, they happen great. If they don't, it's okay. I expect this team next year to be locked into a playoff spot. And if that doesn't happen, you can expect me to be a lot more critical than what I've sounded or looked like this year. That is almost a guarantee. Good morning, Keats. Good to see you. Zeph, Christian Dvorak playing better since he canceled his dentist publicly. Thank you. Dave Laws. Good morning, Shaun. Quite a game last night. Let's go. And Norm, good to see you back. Go Habs, go. Peter Puck. Patrick Laine scares me. He got stripped of the puck twice last night. He's a great goal scorer, but sometimes he seems out to lunch. That was an unbelievable shootout goal Patrick Laine scored. Like how he goes roof as quickly as he did. Like Patrick Laine is prorated for 40 goals. Patrick Laine is prorated for a 24-goal power play campaign. You aware of that? Like, he's on pace for 24 power play goals in an 82-game campaign. 5-on-5, 5-on-5. I don't give a shit about what this guy looks like 5-on-5. Go score, brother. Go score. And I get it. But understand this, and I stand by this. I do. I stand by this. I remember telling people and I got it from a great source, that Patrick Laine's knee injury was as bad, if not worse, than David Reinbacher. And Reinbacher got it surgically repaired. Patrick Laine and his camp decided to go a different way. They tried a different way, and obviously you see what you see, right? But understand when I tell you that Laine's knee injury was devastating. And like David Reinbacher, he was ahead of schedule, and I think you're lucky to see him out there on the ice. Could have been a lot worse had they decided to go with the invasive repair job for Patrick Laine. So when we talk about the pace, and I've been on him on the lack of pace, right? Devastating the injury. Keep that in the back of your mind. But that does not, give you a reason for being sometimes lack of situational awareness. Let's put it that way. And Martin St. Louis has not been afraid to call Patrick Laine out. Remember, prior to the Four Nations break, about the lack of playing time. You want more playing time. Be better with your risk-reward ratio. And Patrick Laine has gotten better. Patrick Laine looks to me like a player who was bought in. I watched him yesterday, just like you did. I saw a guy with a little bit more hustle. I saw a guy who was trying to catch up to a back check when the Colorado Avalanche were going the other way and gaining momentum. So the buy-in is obvious for Patrick Laine, but the pace remains an issue. And so did the injury. Sam Montembeault, by the way, 7-0-3 in his last 10 games. A point is a point is a point is a point. And you tell me, and I would disagree with this. My man Steph Howard says, loser points don't mean much to me. Well, if you look at the Montreal Canadiens, who have now gotten loser points in back-to-back games, right? The Canadiens, for the third time this season, friends, have points in 6 in a row. 6 games in a row, Montreal has picked up at least a point. In 3 of those games went beyond regulation, and they took a point in those 3 games. So it's very easy math today. You take those, if you're like Steph and you're like, loser points, they don't mean anything to me. Well, take the 3 loser points off the Montreal Canadiens, right? And then take them off. Now we're at 72 points. You're now trailing the New York Islanders, looking up at a playoff spot with Columbus hot on your heels. So at this point, if we were talking about games in October, loser points, I would have more time for that. But for a bubble team like the Montreal Canadiens, a team that no one thought would be this deep into the race, loser points are exceptionally valuable. And the Canadiens have picked up a point in 6 straight games, and that's how you stay in the mix. That's how you stay in the fight. That's how you continue to believe in yourself, that you don't wilt away and you don't shy away from trying to come back, despite the fact that you're dealing with a juggernaut Colorado Avalanche team. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Lots of comments today. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button. There. Are you happy I said it again? I agree with time management. Dobish giving 1 to 2 bad goals when healthy equals Montembeault giving 1 to 2 bad goals when he's tired. Naz says we are here because of Monte, in part because of Monte. Ricky Martin, living La Vida Loca. Does Shaun believe now? Oh, baby, I always believe. Thank you. Naz, Habs are in playoff mode. One goalie has to be given the 100% confidence, but it's a juggling act. Jakub Dobish kind of needs to play too. He's got to play a little bit. Ryerson, good morning. As Montreal fans, we're just used to excellent goaltending. People need to relax on Montembeault. If you were watching every team's games, you would see other excellent goalies getting pumped as well. The goaltending position seems a lot more volatile, less predictable than it has ever before. And it's nice, you miss the comforts. Like I've said before, you miss the comforts of great goaltending, right? It's like that security blanket, that nice warm blanket. When you're cold on a winter night in Montreal, you get that nice blanket and you get under the covers maybe, and you're all nice and toasty boasty, and you could fall asleep in a second. That's what goaltending has provided to this market for so long, right? It's the comforts of home. And right now, who wants to be uncomfortable? I'm going to tell you, you want to be uncomfortable. You really do. Why? Because the Montreal Canadiens are starting to score goals again. Isn't it nice to see run support? 4 goals last night, 3 in an overtime loss on the road, 6 against Ottawa, 3-1 win over the defending Stanley Cup champs. They put a 4 spot on the road in Seattle, put a 4 spot in a win over Vancouver. Nice to see this team getting some run support. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Mike, what do you do if Gouli can play Tuesday? Who comes out? Well, I think it's David Savard. I really do. But, I mean, I can't see a world in which Caden Gouli skating on Saturday with a no-contact jersey on, or Friday, whatever it was, with a no-contact jersey on, but playing when the Canadiens get back to work on Tuesday at St. Louis, the first of 4 road games. St. Louis, Philly, Carolina, and Florida. That's the Canadiens' next 4. New York Rangers, if you're just joining us, New York Rangers move to California for their next 3, starting to Tuesday. LA Kings on Tuesday, Ducks on Friday, and Sharks on Saturday. New York 7-6 against the Pacific Division. I wonder who is the mystery 2C. I don't know. But you can go watch the video that is up now on the Shaun Starr Show on YouTube.com. The trade possibilities of Evgeny Malkin, Matty Beniers, maybe other names. Marco D'Amico has some pretty good options for you. Go check it out for yourself, and you can join the Shaun Starr Show for $2.99 a month and cancel anytime, and you get early access to all the content that we do here. Good logo, bad take. Good morning, Al. Not disputing that Montembeault is our number one and that he has been a plus for the Canadiens. We need to stop spotting the opposition an early easy goal or two in the game. Yeah, easier said than done. What do you I mean, I could tell you without knowing Sam Montembeault, I'm pretty confident when I tell you this. Sam doesn't want to allow easy, soft, banana type goals. You right? So I'm sure it's not by design. I'm sure he wants to stop. I'm sure Sam Montembeault wants to get a shutout every single time he can. Jeff wants his team to make the first round as Washington money. And that's who the Canadiens are going to play. I mean, if they make the playoffs, the Washington Capitals, with the most points in hockey still, what do they got? 102? They've won 4 in a row. They were the first team to clinch a playoff spot and still the only team to have clinched a playoff spot. By the way, the Blackhawks and Sharks officially eliminated from the playoffs. So if you thought for a second, maybe there was a comeback there, so sorry. The Blackhawks and Sharks officially out. Washington officially into the playoffs. And I'm Montreal makes the postseason. It's going to be the Washington Capitals, right? Unless something absolutely crazy happens. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate the encouragement. Look at this clown. What a donkey. Yes, Golf International is open. This course, International, I think it closes for like 2 weeks. So if you're not from here, right? Like, we have this golf course called Golf International 2000, and it's infamous. It's infamous for how short their season is. Like, I don't know who goes to play Golf International 2000. Like, I have never played that golf course, and I will never play that golf course. I have zero interest to ever go play in a cow pasture or a mud pit in frickin' March in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. But God bless you. If you're out there, and like, I consider myself a diehard golf junkie. I am a golf nerd defined, right? But if you're out there, you got a tee time. Like, winter is back in Montreal today. It's like minus 11. It's freaking freezing. It snowed a little bit. There's snow on the ground again. But if you got a tee time on Monday when it's going to be 6 degrees, I mean, I bow my head to you. I am not worthy. If I thought I was a golf nerd, I mean, you cracked me. You absolutely cracked me and schooled me. But I don't know, man. It does not have plugged balls, mud terrain, probably shitty greens, shitty bunkers. Like, I'd rather go, and I'm not even a big golf simulator guy. I'd rather go pound balls on a screen than I would go play. But I love the fact that every spring, early spring, Golf International opens up in March. Got to get those tee times, generate that revenue. I get it. So many comments. Thank you, everybody. Please hit that like button. And so we continue to keep us going here. See if I can find any more good comments here. There's so many of them. We will rock you. Thank you, everybody. So yeah. Boy, oh boy. I haven't gone out and stayed out in a minute. And it was nice. It was nice to be at the Bell Center. We were there with the TSN 690 crew last night. So it was nice to see I got to see Mitch Melnick. I haven't seen Melnick in a while. Melnick was there, Sean Campbell, Mitch Gallo, Connor McKenna. So it was just nice. It was nice. And we got the loge. We got to sit in the loge for the game. And my pal JP O'Connor was there as well. And it was a unique experience because normally, like, when I've gone to a loge, and I've been invited to a loge a few different times, generally it's kind of like a schmooze kind of thing. Very few people are watching the game. It's like you're drinking a beer, having wine, eating food, and shooting the breeze, right? It's like a networking kind of thing. But in the loge yesterday, we're watching the game, and JP looks at me. He's like, I've never been to a game like this. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, everybody is watching the game. Nobody is nobody is just simply standing up, drinking wine, and shooting the breeze, right? No, this was a sports station. This was a sports station. Diehard Canadians observers all sitting there watching the game. Slab Happy. Welcome, 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 welcome. Proud new member. That means we're 22 strong. 22 strong on the Shaun Starr show with early access to all our videos. And again, Marco D'Amico with some pretty interesting stuff. I love this name. SurfX11. I believe this is the first time I've seen your username, or at least a comment in the live chat. And you know why I'm pretty good with that? Identifying usernames, because I'm sure like you could do this, right? I just read a funny this is good, Gary. Gary riffing off my Canuck. This jacket will last you 20 years. Unfortunately, Gary, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. But you know why I'm good with the Surf X11, that I didn't recognize the name, and I'm sure you were like this too in your childhood when we collected hockey cards. Remember, you used to rip a pack open, walk right out of the depth, rip a pack open, and be like, "Got him, got him, got him, need him, got him, got him, got him, need him." Right? And so I spent most of my childhood as an avid sports card collector, and so I was always very good at that. And so when I see a username, my first kind of instinct is, I have not seen that name before. Oh boy. Ricky Martin. Doesn't Ricky Martin live in like in a beach paradise somewhere? Live in La Vida Loca? Come on now. Come on now. Let's be honest here. Peter Puck making some money on the NHL yesterday. Way to go. And lots of comments today. So, nice to see Angela Esposito back. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Sounds like missed a good game. So proud of the team. Missed a great game. I did not think the Montreal Canadiens had it. I did not think they were going to come back on Saturday night against that team. But man, oh man, just beyond impressed with what they've done. The Dvorak Anderson line, like Josh Anderson. I cannot wait to know what Josh Anderson is going through. Josh Anderson, every day between games, every game between games, it's a therapy day for Josh Anderson. But yet he goes out there and plays like a human wrecking ball every shift. I mean, what's it going to be? Was it got a sports hernia? What's Josh Anderson's ailment? Because, I mean, this guy is an absolute warrior for the Montreal Canadiens. And that line with Dvorak and Brendan Gallagher, the work that they put in to create Christian Dvorak's tying goal yesterday. That's what you need to see, my friends. It's what you need to see to tell you everything about how much they play for each other and believe in each other. Good morning, Ryan. You're not winning a Stanley Cup with Sam Montembeault, and you're silly if you believe otherwise. But yes, he's given up a chance in a lot of games. It also allows too many bananas. I mean, I don't think anybody this morning said the Canadiens are going to win the Stanley Cup or said it in a serious way. Sam Montembeault is slightly better than average, and you're not going to win the Stanley Cup unless you're a stacked team. Look at the Edmonton Oilers. Look at Stuart frickin' Skinner. Look at who they have playing for them, and they can't get it done. I don't think anybody is really talking about Sam Montembeault guiding the Montreal Canadiens to a Stanley Cup. Morgan, well said. Lonnie is a one-trick pony, but what a trick. What a trick for a team that needs goals, that needs to be more dynamic offensively, and he is bought in, and he's a good team guy, and he is starting to find his form a little bit. We don't know when Caden Gooley is coming back. Hopefully pretty darn quick to see this, to get this team a little bit more, because as Ken Hughes explained to Pierre LeBrun in the aftermath of the GM meetings, like, they didn't want to go out and get middling picks, trading away Armia, trading away Dvorak, because they would have had to have poached guys from Laval. And the Laval Rocket are an absolute heater. The Adam Engstrom goal on Saturday was an absolute beauty. Go check out the highlight of the Adam Engstrom goal. Florian Jacki doing his thing. Laval winning big 6-0. David Reinbacher with an absolute cannon of a shot on Friday night. Reinbacher, by the way, finish my thought on that. Reinbacher the plan was for him to take the warm-up skate on Saturday and then see what was going on. By that time, the Rocket had already dressed 7 defensemen, so he wasn't going to play. So no, I don't believe a setback. So nice to see what's going on with the Laval Rocket. Very nice to see what's going on with the Rocket. That is a fact, Pierre. Look, the Canadiens now have points in 6 straight games. They've done that 3 times this season. So pretty strong across the board. So yeah, thank you so much, Recliner Sports. Nice to see you back here. I haven't seen you. It feels like I haven't seen you in a few episodes. And so yeah, thank you. So many comments today. Holy cow, you guys are just unbelievable. I forgot how far behind I was. Because just going off. And thank you again. Nice to see Slap Happy joining the Shaun Starr Show. We're at 266 live viewers, 61 minutes into my show today. Generally, I like to wrap it up after an hour, but let me just finish this up because so many of you are still with me. I feel bad if I just cut the stream. Do you think Doc will be an effective third line winger? That's going to be the rub, man. That's going to be the rub, Paul, and everybody else wondering about the future of Arbor Jacki as a restricted free agent. He doesn't really have any leverage as far as his future contract goes in the here and now. And I don't think there's a place for Kirby Doc down the middle. I really don't. I think Alex Newhook, I stand by it. I don't think it's a flash in the pan. Alex Newhook is a much better player down the middle. Jake Evans is here. That was the biggest move the Canadiens made on deadline day, was extending Jake Evans for 4 years. And he's your 4C. Newhook's your 3C. And you need to figure out who your 2C is. And you keep going from there and figuring out where Kirby Doc's spot is on this team. And I don't even know if he has one. I don't even know if there is a spot for him on this team next year. But again, the Canadiens have the leverage there in that kind of contract. Morgan offering his services. If you need a co-host, I'm so cheap, I might as well be free. Don't ever sell yourself for free, my friend. If you can get money, go out there and get money. And yeah, I don't feel like I need a co-host. Sometimes, though. I feel like for the playoffs, though, I feel like I might, if the Canadiens get in the playoffs this year, I might do something about that, though. And if they do get in the playoffs, I don't know what I'm going to do in terms of do I want to live stream games for the playoffs if they get in? I think I might react to playoff games the next morning as opposed to what I traditionally do and have done. Fox sakes, what's up, brother? Why not play Dobish for a few games if he plays well, give Montembeault a rest, and to motivate him? Are we really using the motivation strategy? Like, they were down 4-1 to Colorado. Like, they're trying to fight for the playoffs. That's the motivation. I don't think anybody needs, like, if you need more jam, if you can't get up, if you're lackadaisical and you're emotionless on this Montreal Canadiens team, what the hell are you doing on this team? Like, no, man, I just don't see that angle. I don't see that angle as it relates to motivation. And like I told you, if you missed the beginning portion of my live stream today, I got it from a source very, very, very close to the Montreal Canadiens that I try not to take advantage of. And I asked his perspective on the goaltending, right? After Montembeault was in goal against the Islanders and lost. Saturday is traditionally Sam Montembeault, you know? But he wrote back to me. He answered me. He said they're fighting for their lives. That's their mentality. They're fighting for their lives. And, that's the perspective to have going in. I love calling out the names during a show. Reminds me of Romper Room. I loved it when she called out my name looking through the mirror. Older people know what I mean. I do not know what you mean. And I think I might be older. King Carew, new watcher here, Shaun. Really enjoying your content. Great. Dude, thank you so much. My man, Steph Howard. Good to see you back, my boy. Thank you, sir. And don't forget to hit that like button as always. It just lets YouTube know that y'all love me and we're watching this all together. 270 people watching us live. I've been doing this for 65 minutes. Naz and Josh Anderson, it just continues to, I want to give Martin St. Louis so much credit for what Josh Anderson has turned into, but you got to give the player so much credit for what, again, one of the biggest aspects of a coach and what they do is getting your players to understand what you're trying to sell them. That's what he's trying to do. Pierre, you are hired for the job. Pierre, you're hired. 3 away from 100 likes. So please hit that like button on this Sunday morning. You and me both, brother. Whereas you want me to see if I can bring Hanky in here? And I got to tell you, this comment here, I got to tell you, I feel old today. Like I'm not, I'm going to give you a little insight into my personal life. I'm a man dead set on routine. I love my routine. For those of you that aren't aware, I have been on the radio on TSN 690 for 100 years. And I do morning radio. You guys want Hank? I'll see if I can get him in here. Hanky, come. Come here, bub. See, look, he's not listening to me. Hanky, what are you doing? Get over here. No, he's not listening to me. He's so stubborn. Oh, here he comes. Yes. Oh, a boy. Yes, there he is. Oh, there he is. I told you I could get him over here. Good boy. Good boy. You want to say hello to everybody? Oh, hi, everybody. What's up, baby? Yes, my boy. Yes, my boy. Oh. There he is. Yeah, I told you I'd get him in here. There he is. Oh, you want to say hello, Hank? He's such a good boy. This boy here, my boy Hank. This boy here, this big boy here. This is a rescue. This boy here, he's a rescue. We got him from Texas. Texas is where we got him from. And so Texas, they have the worst dog laws, right? And so found this rescue center. They drove him up to Vermont, and is where I went to go get him. And so we've had him for a couple of years now. And one of the more challenging projects of my life is Hank was a street dog. He was abandoned and lived on the street for the first year and a half of his life until I ultimately met him and rescued him, right? And so, yeah, he's just a great boy all around. And so let me just finish my thought here on my routine, right? So I am on the radio Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 on TSN 690 with Connor McKenna. And generally I get up around 3:30, 3:45. I hop in the shower and make my way to the office. And this is going to sound weird. I like to be in my chair at 4:34. If I'm late, I'm that type of guy. I love my routine, And so because I'm very much a routine guy, I go to bed at a certain time. I obviously wake up at the time, so I don't really stay out late very much. People like to make fun of me when I talk about how I like to go for dinner at 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's true. I'm not lying to you. I like to go for dinner nice and early. I like to go to bed early. I like to sleep and all that stuff, so on a non-game day, I may go to bed at 9:15, kind of around there. And so last night I went to my first Canadiens game of the season. And decided we were in the loge and, with my pals from work and having a great time and decided to indulge, right? Had a couple of beers, had a couple of cocktails and ate and watched hockey. It was a great night. And I didn't get home until kind of late. And then I stayed up when I got home and everything else. And I didn't go to bed till almost like 1 o'clock in the morning, which is, I don't even remember the last time I went to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. And so I didn't have a good sleep. I'm kind of groggy. I kind of feel like shit. And and so I'm kind of dealing with it. And I haven't felt this way in a really long time. Let's see here. Let's see Paul's question. Strange question. Since the NC2A changed, the rules, CHL players are allowed to play there now. Will that mean NC2A players will now be allowed to participate in training camp? Not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know. My boy Marco D'Amico might be able to answer that. I'd have to go find out. I'm sure you were, brother. I'm sure you were. And thank you, Naz. Now, we are trying to live our best lives, aren't we? And so, yeah, let's welcome in a couple of new members. Slap Happy is here. James Gary Hill, proud new member of the Shaun Starr Show. So up to 23 members now, and you get early access to some of my content. And thank you, Steph. Always a great, your support and generosity, as always, is certainly appreciated, and a very humbling gesture as well from all of you. So that'll be it. I'm sorry to the yes, that is correct. Columbus at the New York Islanders tomorrow night at 7:30. Detroit plays at Utah on Monday. The New York Rangers, their next 3 games takes them to California. Kings, Ducks, and Sharks. Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. The Montreal Canadiens begin a 4-game road trip starting in St. Louis on Tuesday. And then they go to Philadelphia on Thursday. Friday, they're in Carolina. Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock, home to, at the Florida Panthers. So that's what we're looking at coming up for the Rangers and the Montreal Canadiens, fighting for that second and final playoff spot. So for Peter Puck and Ricky Martin and Surf X and Pierre-Luc, thank you so much for your participation today. Thank you for getting us close to 300 live views. And please hit that like button. Everybody says it's very good for the algorithm. And don't forget, the Shaun Starr Show comes at you live every Saturday and Sunday at 9:30 in the morning. And daily content comes out weekdays at 10 a.m. All right? 10 a.m. You can find new content. But if you're a member, like my boy Steph Howard is, you get the freshest content as soon as it drops. So thanks for being with us. Enjoy your Sunday. I hope you relax. I hope you enjoy your families. Eat very well and rest and relax. And we'll see you right here on the Shaun Starr Show on Monday.